The first set of tenses we'll be talking about are present, past, and future simple tenses. Let's take present simple tense. This tense refers to actions in the present. With regular verbs, you form the tense by using the verb stem as it is. There are no changes to the verb stem. But when you're writing a positive statement in the third person singular, that is he, she, or it, all you have to do is add s to the verb stem. Let's take an example where you have a subject I and a verb like. A simple tense would say I like, you like. But when you're using a positive statement in a third person singular, you say he likes or she likes. Now all you did was to add s to the verb stem. In a positive statement, you have you like rice. In a question, do you like rice? And in a negative statement, you do not like rice. We move on to past simple tenses. This tense refers to actions that have already happened in the past. Now with regular verbs, you form the sentence by adding ed to the verb stem. But if the verb stem already ends with the letter E, all you have to do is add D. The verb form changes in a question or negative statement. Let's take an example. I requested or I liked. You requested or you liked. With the verb requested, you added ed to the verb request. But in the case of liked, all you had to do was add d to like. The verb stem does not change its form. In a positive statement, you have you played chess. In the question, did you play chess? And in a negative statement, you did not play chess. These are all referring to actions that have already happened in the past. Note that with regular verbs, the past tense forms do not change. But with irregular verbs, the past tense forms can change. Example of those irregular verbs are become. The past tense of become is became. Past tense of fly is flew. Past tense of catch is caught. Unlike regular verbs that all you have to do is just add ed or d. You have to learn these irregular verbs. Also note that the past simple tense can be formed with the verb to be. And this time you use the past of be, which is was or were. Remember that the present form of the verb to be is am, like when you say I am. But in the past tense, you use was, I was, you were. In a positive statement, you have I was annoyed because the play was cancelled. In a question, were you annoyed because the play was cancelled? And in a negative statement, I was not annoyed because the play was cancelled. Moving on to future simple tenses. There are two forms of these tenses, and it refers to actions in the future. For this tense, we use will or shall for the first form of future simple tense. You follow this with the verb stem. For example, I will walk to school, or I shall walk to school. He will walk to school. Nothing changes in the verb stem, and nothing changes in the use of will or shall, whether you're speaking in the first, second, or third person singular or plural. In a positive statement, you can say, you will go to school. In a question, will you go to school? And in a negative statement, you will not go to school. You will find that in a question, will or shall comes before the subject. Also note that we often use contractions when using will and shall. For example, I will becomes I will, and we shall not becomes we shan't. Moving on to the next form of future simple tenses. This form is called the going to future. It's a form of combination of the verb to be, which is am, are, or is, together with going to before the verb stem. Let's take an example. I am going to swim. Remember, in the first form of future simple tenses, we only use will. I will swim. But in the second form, you can use the going to form. I am going to swim. Or he is going to swim. In a positive statement, you can say, you are going to the movies. In a question, are you going to the movies? And in a negative statement, you are not going to the movies. You would also note that in a question, the verb to be, which is are, comes before the subject. We often use contractions too when using this verb to be. For example, I am becomes am, or you are can also be said as your. Let us practice. Tommy sharpened all the pencils after school. What form of tense is this? Correct. Past simple tense. Tommy sharpened all the pencils after school. You added ed to the verb sharpen. In a future simple tense, you have she will sharpen all the pencils after school. And in the present simple tense, you can say she is sharpening all the pencils now. That is happening in the present. Abraham is studying for his test right now. What form of tense is that? Correct, the present simple tense. In a future simple tense, you can have he will study for his test tonight at home. And in a past simple tense, he studied for his test last night. That's already happened in the past. So at the end of this module, we have learned about present, past, and future simple tenses. We have also been able to identify them in meaningful sentences.